Well, guys, we reached 500 subscribers. That's pretty cool. Um, I want to thank everybody that gives me their precious time to watch the stuff I put up. I know sometimes it's got good information and sometimes it doesn't. I try to get more, uh, educational stuff, but a lot of times I've done something that I already had a video on it, and I don't want to be repeating a bunch of that. Some of it you kind of have to, but it's also hard to go back through all the old videos and find just the stuff you're looking for. It's not always categorized right, and it's not always titled right. So anyway, I'll just keep popping them up here. Tried to get some shots of a fun episode yesterday, but I get busy and forget to pull the camera out. I had 8 families that are in a homeschooling group that came to the apiary to have a honeybee tour, and it worked real well. I had to clean some of my shop up, my bee barn, which is always a good thing, and we were able to stand in there and talk about equipment and bees. And then I have a colony right behind them, or behind the barn, that I was able to just step back to, pull frames out, and walk back into the barn and show them. One little girl stopped me in the middle of talking about bees to ask if she could see a queen, and luckily the very first frame we pulled out had a queen on it and a bee that was emerging, so it was pretty cool. They had a lot of fun, seemed to. Not sure if the parents were more interested than the kids were and about the honeybees. A few of them interested in picking some up next spring, which is neat. Then of course they found the bunnies, and everybody needed to see bunnies and pet bunnies, so Susan gave them some bunny talk, and then they had to go out and pet the mules. So they were here a little over 2 hours probably. Seemed to have a good time. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. We'll probably do more of them. There's a lot more people in the group, but they kind of shut it off at that number, so we didn't get overwhelmed. But I won't be able to do it till I get back from hunting. So right now I'm scrambling to get the things done I have to get done. And the bees are hungry. So I made some pollen patties up. They turned out pretty good this time. I've got videos back there about making the pollen patties. I've used wax paper in the past, and it's not real thick, and it kind of falls apart. And so this time I tried butcher paper, which I've got a huge roll of, and it's working great. It's really solid, but I put the cuts in it and they chewed right through it, and I'm eating it up and going to town on it, which is also proof that they need it. I actually had some in here when I was doing it, eating it out of the bowl, so they're needing that. The syrup too, I put a little syrup on them and they've sucked it down, so today we're going to make some more. Last year I had a recirculating pump set up, but the pump's not wanting to run, so we're just going to make it in the tank here. And though I'm feeding a 1-to-1, I usually make it at 2-to-1 when I mix it, because it'll keep longer if they're not eating it. So my friend Dave came up with a smoking deal on some sugar. So I picked 1,400 pound toad up from him with sugar in it. It's real fine. It's scrapings off the belts at the sugar plant and off the floor and things, I think, so they can't resell it. So the guy he got it from, I think, gets it for free, and then he bags it up, markets it, and sells it for 15 cents a pound, which I'm happy to pay him 15 cents a pound to get it for me. So anyway, we're going to work on that today. Get some good syrup on them. I gave them all about 1/3 of a gallon 2 days ago, and all the feeders are dry, so they need it. Doing a little bit of open feeding, just trickling them a little morning and evening to keep them over there, and it seems to be keeping the robbing under control. The boric acid that I mixed up and fed yellow jackets last year, I believe it had some effect. I'm not seeing near the yellow jacket population. I need to get more of that out. And if you remember, I believe I mixed it up in a syrup with the boric acid and then put it on tuna fish, and the honeybees won't have anything to do with the tuna fish. So if that bees take that tuna fish with boric acid back to the colony and feed it to the brood will die. At this time of year in August, the brood is queens and drones. So if you kill the queens they're making for next year, this year, then we don't have as many of them next year. So anyway, if anybody's interested in me talking about that a little more, put it in the comments. Let me know who's watching. We picked up a number of subscribers, but there's only a small portion that it actually lets me know who subscribed. Most of them it doesn't tell me, it just tells me I have another subscriber. So if I get comments, I know who's there. And if you've got questions, let me know. I can do videos on them, answer questions. I'm happy to help you learn bees. Thanks. So this deal Dave found on the sugar is a pretty good deal. At 15 cents a pound. It's really pretty fine. It goes into solution pretty quick, but there are a couple big chunks in here that won't come out of the bag, so I'm gonna have to get the roto hammer and bust them up so I can finish getting the stuff out of the bag. But man, if you can find a deal like this, it makes feeding the bees quite a bit more affordable.